So you tell me to tell you something that maybe a dozen people actually know that's going to come out very soon. Okay. Meghan Markle, the reason why you watch her interviews and she just seems off.
His family history, what do they have on her and her mom? What are they hiding? Also, Meghan's fake pregnancy? Ooh, Lady C delivers.
Meghan has been the center of attention for many reasons, and her pregnancies have been the source of dozens of theories.
Harry and Meghan Markle's surrogacy scandal has entered the mainstream media domain.
Meghan Markle's fake pregnancy rumours have intensified as Lady C has just revealed her thoughts.
Here's the problem. We don't like you, Meghan Markle. We don't like you. And no amount of posting videos that you think are going to humanize you will make us like you. You've already shown us your true colors. We know who you are. You helped kill the Queen.
If Kate and William did this, do
you think they'd ever release it?
If they did,
you think Kate would release a twerking video,
use headlines
heavily
like that?
pregnant at the bedside?
Would people say things like that?
The thing is, these two will sell anything about their privacy.
A lot of the royal watchers were complaining that they felt like her posts on social media where she barely shows the kids is almost taunting the king, who doesn't know these children, and how unfair this is.
Either Archie or Lily, and it needs to happen. They need to prove that those children, Meghan and Harry, are not entitled to privacy in this matter.
Buckingham Palace is being pressured to remove Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet from the UK's royal line of succession until the Duchess provides absolute proof that she popped out both babies herself.
They think her kids are fake. They think they're AI.
This scandal comes as no surprise. Speculation about the children has been simmering for years.
Meghan has never been far from the spotlight. But the most persistent speculation hasn't been about her speeches or headlines. It's been about her pregnancies and the unanswered questions that keep fueling new theories. None of this controversy appeared overnight. Doubts about Archie and Lilibet have been quietly building for years, with some people even questioning whether a surrogate was involved, or whether the public has been told the full truth at all. And until something definitive is shown, the speculation won't stop. It'll only keep escalating.
Harry and Meghan playing games that resulted in people unnecessarily questioning things. Every toxicity thing is result of them. They're the problem. She wanted to play games. She wanted to get one over on the press. And now everybody thinks her children are either born via surrogate or fake, or she rents the kids. Like, things that just don't make a ton of sense. They still exist there because of Harry and Meghan.
Now the pressure is shifting toward the palace itself, with calls to freeze the children's place in the line of succession unless clear proof is provided. The suspicions hinge on one repeating detail in public footage. Moments where Meghan appears with drastically different bump sizes in similar time frames. Something mothers insist doesn't align with how late-stage pregnancy actually looks or behaves. Reports claim Prince William has reached a breaking point, and what he wants next could upend everything. Allegedly, he has formally pushed for DNA verification for both children, comparing results against both parents. This isn't gossip framed as concern.
Trying to placate Harry and Meghan, when the answer should have been from Buckingham Palace, when Harry and Meghan were like, well, we want to do all these things our own way. It should have been, no. If you are having this child in the line of succession this high up, unfortunately, the reality is you need to abide by these specific rules. We're not going to make a special exception to you.
This is the future king, demanding scientific certainty over bloodline legitimacy, sparked by evidence he believes can't be ignored. One detail being cited is a financial trail, a reported $500,000 payment tied to Meghan and routed to a discreet fertility clinic near the Mexican border, known for confidentiality. Then, just days later, the public was told Archie had been born. In this narrative, it isn't the accusation alone that matters.
Why is her stomach so bumpy? Maybe they had stuck some monitors on there, but normally they don't give you like remote monitors on your belly. I've had 3 kids. All the monitors they stick on you are connected to the thing that's right next to your hospital bed. She wasn't wired up at all. I don't know what's going on.
It's the tight timeline and why it raises questions that won't go away. Women who've carried pregnancies to term point to a specific inconsistency, they say stands out on camera. Moments where the bump appears to collapse or fold when she sits. A real late-term pregnancy, fluid, placenta, baby, doesn't behave like fabric. But a prosthetic made of silicone or foam can compress under pressure in exactly that way. More footage is cited for what it seems to show under clothing: sharp edges and angular lines.
Sensitive topic like peanut butter on pizza or Crocs with socks. But once you go down this rabbit hole, it's hard to ignore events like how exactly can Meghan, heavily pregnant, crouch down with her knees together? Well, quite a handful of people argue that since Meghan practices yoga, that explains so much flexibility when she's stretching the truth. But one thing is being able to do a flawless crawl, and another, very different one, is vanishing an 8-month bump like David Copper.
Pregnancy shapes are typically rounded because they follow the natural curve of the uterus. The argument here is simple. Bodies don't form geometric corners, but wearable prosthetics often do, built with straighter edges for easier placement and concealment. Then there's what some say is missing entirely: the physical toll pregnancy usually leaves behind. Swelling, fluid retention, posture changes, recovery signs. Things most women can't hide even if they try.
All the amazing gifts that this family has given you as nothing, and suggested that they didn't care you were suicidal and they were the ones who drove you there. So she has absolutely no love lost between her and most people who may be somewhat warm towards the royal family, even if we're not big on royalty. She's reportedly...
The claim being pushed is that Meghan showed none of it, while also appearing in heels days before the birth and in fitted outfits immediately after. Details that critics argue don't match normal postpartum reality. Royal births follow protocol: documents, hospital records, physician confirmation, postnatal reporting. George, Charlotte, and Louis had that paper trail. This narrative claims Archie and Lilibet did not, and that the absence of standard documentation is exactly what makes the story feel unfinished to so many people.
California Birth Index, and per the website at thecaliforniabirthindex.org, the California Birth Index, or CABI, is a database that stores records of births in California, abstracts of birth certificates. Putting her full official name of Rachel Meghan Markle, you can see that the official records show.
Another red flag raised is the birth certificate change. Meghan's legal name reportedly removed and replaced with her royal title, something critics contrast with how Catherine's name appears on official documents. In this framing, the question becomes less about style and more about liability. Why alter an identity detail after the fact, unless something needed to be legally insulated?
To be honest with you, I love both my daughters. I'm not happy with what one of my daughters is doing. And I don't know what caused her to do this. We've had this conversation before. She's telling lies. I'm very upset about it as well, because this is a cruel thing to do to our grandparent. Not just me, to the King of England as well.
Even the location story is presented as inconsistent. An early claim of a private home birth, followed by later references to the Portland hospital. In this narrative, the issue isn't which version is true. It's why such a foundational detail would shift at all, and what that shifting suggests. The stakes, the video argues, go far beyond scandal. They reach into constitutional law. For centuries, succession has hinged on one requirement: heirs must be born of the body, meaning carried and delivered by the titled individual.
Duchess of Sussex, no longer HRH, was safely delivered of a son, and she and her child are both doing well. So back to the tradition of putting out a framed bulletin or a gilded easel outside Buckingham Palace after royal births has been going on since 1837, so it's a cool tradition. And George, Charlotte, and Louis' easels listed the doctors' names with signatures, birth weight and time, and referenced the royal family. But Archie's notably only included mention of the Queen and the royal family in the wording, but not on the actual document, and then they omitted the signatures from the doctor's presence.
Under this interpretation, even biological DNA wouldn't matter if a surrogate carried the child. Titles and succession rights could be void, turning a private deception into a constitutional crisis. The narrative then asks a practical question. If this were faked, how could it be sustained for 9 months? Pregnancy involves constant medical checkpoints. Appointments, scans, tests, documented milestones. The implication is that keeping up a false timeline would require either extraordinary manipulation or an equally extraordinary level of ignorance from those closest to her. Two possibilities are framed. Harry didn't know, or Harry did. If he was deceived, exposing it could have earned public sympathy. But the continued commitment to the story, the video argues, suggests the alternative.
I think in this modern era, because in previous, in the medieval times, the Renaissance and stuff, things were dealt with a bit more, you could call it aggressively, when it came to errant members of a royal family. You sent them off to war and hoped that war took care of the rest, sort of thing. And so I think in this sort of modern era, you do actually need some way to, discipline may sound like a harsh word, but to share with them, hey, you're part of this, you have to be act a particular way. If you decide not to do that, that's your right, but there are consequences. I think there needs to be
that silence over time starts to look less like confusion and more like consent. The claim escalates into an investigation framing, not just a single payment, but alleged corporate rooting, photo forensics, and gaps in medical documentation. Add to that the near total lack of candid visibility of the children compared to other royals, and the argument becomes, the absence of ordinary evidence is itself being treated as evidence. The video's narrative suggests the palace would move slowly for strategic reasons, protecting the late queen from devastating revelations, and compiling proof strong enough to withstand legal scrutiny. Because in this framing, the risk isn't embarrassment, it's institutional legitimacy, and accusations of succession fraud can't be made lightly.
Now ruined the entire vibe of the first hour, Meghan. I hope you realize what you've done.
My apologies.
I will never forgive you for such a thing. It's funny because watching it you're right, there's maybe a thought that they have a private moment like that, and maybe it's nice between them, and it's a nice memory of a silly moment before she gives birth.
From there, the story outlines 3 endpoints. Testing proves parentage, and the noise dies. Refusal implies unfavorable truth and triggers legal escalation. Or non-parentage is revealed, turning the situation into fraud with serious criminal consequences. The narrative argues this isn't tabloid drama. Under British law, falsifying succession is treated as one of the most severe constitutional crimes. The video reframes William's motive as institutional, not personal. The argument is that if the line of succession can be questioned here, it can be questioned forever, weakening the monarchy's foundation.
The epitome that is the Meghan cradle, not to be confused with the Meghan claw, which I dedicated a complete episode to that, but the cradling that she was always doing to her belly bump. Wherever she went, no matter who was she talking to, standing, sitting, no matter what, she was cradling her bump. And somehow this really upset a lot of people, even if Meghan at least was adding some variety all the time.
In that framing, demanding clarity isn't persecution. It's damage control for the future of the crown itself. One point is stressed directly. Whatever the truth is, the children are innocent. If they're hidden, edited, adopted, or born via undisclosed surrogacy, the narrative argues they're caught inside an adult battle over image and ambition, denied a normal childhood to protect a story. The closing argument becomes procedural. DNA testing is fast, non-invasive, and legally admissible. Cheek swabs, results in days, recognized standards.
As a result of the bizarre conduct of a cheap hustler and her dope of a husband, is entirely unnecessary and should be cleared up. There is no justifiable reason why the British public should have to put up with a doubtful situation when it has been generally accepted practice since 1688 that all royal births should be publicly attested so that there can be no question as to the entitlement of an infant to his or her place in the line of succession.
In this framing, that simplicity is the whole point. One test could end everything. And the only logical reason to resist it is fear of what it confirms. The ending positions the moment as inevitable. Delay only intensifies suspicion, and the demand for verification won't disappear. The video closes on a promise of resolution, voluntary compliance, or legal compulsion. But either way, it insists the questions won't stay buried, and the institution's future depends on confronting what comes next.